I want to talk about the ESPN grade that the Knicks got for their offseason moves. Because right now we're talking about offseason moves. We're talking about Preston Achiuwa. We're talking about Mikal Bridges. We're talking about re-signing Jalen Brunson, re-signing OG Anunoby. Yes, we missed out on Isaiah Hartenstein, but I think if you looked at the moves in totality that the Knicks have made, there are a lot more positives than there are negatives. But it depends on who you ask. Before we get into the scout that absolutely torched us and hated the moves that we made, let's get to the ESPN report that praised the Knicks, our offseason moves, and gave us the following grades for what we were able to accomplish. When I saw it, I couldn't believe that ESPN was the one that gave us this. So it was shocking to me, to say the least. Shout out to ESPN for giving us the following information as well, too. As you can see here, we have A-. A-. The Knicks receiving an A- from ESPN. Now, I understand it's not all of ESPN giving us an A-. It's actually Kevin Peloton, who's writing this, giving us an A-. But you know what? He's written about the Knicks for a long time. I don't remember the last time the Knicks got an A- for their offseason. Can you? Especially from ESPN. That is why it's significant and it's something to talk about. And you know what? We always often cover the hate. We always cover the, I quote unquote call it the hater alerts. You know what? Let's call this the praise alert, because we often don't talk about when the Knicks get praised. But let's do that today, because this was some good praise from what Kevin Peloton was saying here. Let's review what he had to say about the Knicks. According to him, having gotten a game short of the Eastern Conference Finals despite multiple key injuries, the time was right for the Knicks to deal nearly all of their available first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. Despite a pricey new deal for OG Anunoby, 5 years, $212.5 million. Bridges' below-market contract and the money Jalen Brunson left on the table by agreeing to a sub-max extension gives New York a window of at least 2 years before pushing them into second apron territory. The Knicks need to find a replacement for Isaiah Hartenstein, who signed with the Thunder for a far higher annual salary than New York could ever offer him. But the Knicks have depth at other 4 positions right now as well, too. They have a lot of depth at that position as well, I should say. They have depth at nearly every single possession that you can imagine right now, except the center position. Because when you look at the center, besides Mitchell Robinson and Achiuwa, who's not really a center, it's only Jericho Sims. But even though even though Isaiah Hartenstein chose to leave the Knicks and join OKC, A- is a perfect grade for New York. It's the grade that I actually gave New York, because you can criticize that move all you want to. You can look at the centers all you want to. And by all means, if you want to do that, do that. Do that till your heart is content. By all means, I'm not going to stop you. But if you look at the moves, all of the moves the Knicks have made, every single thing that they've done for this team, how we've gotten better. Look at where we were last season in our starting roster. Look at what our starting roster is going to be to start this season, where we're projected, how many wins we're projected to get, and where we're going to be at the end of the regular season. We already know we're going to be a playoff team. The question is where. If we're a number 1 seed, I don't think anybody would be shocked. Number 2, you're not going to be shocked. Number 3, you're not going to be shocked. That's the thing. The Knicks have finally made the moves that we're not only getting recognition for, but nobody's shocked when you make these statements anymore, because New York finally has the roster to deliver on all of them. Championship contention, that is where we are right now. You want to know what it feels like? Sit back, relax, kick your feet up, and listen to me as I say this. The Knicks are in championship contention right now. ESPN said we had a window of at least 2 years. You know what they didn't say? At most 5 years. And that's if everybody follows along with Jalen Brunson. And after your superstar does something like that, best believe everybody else is following along. If you love the NBA, if you follow this league, you will love the Knicks You will love what they did, and you will love their offseason moves. If you don't like the Knicks, you don't love everything that they do, and you just become a big hater, you turn into somebody else. Somebody who had to remain anonymous, but shout out to Tim Bontemps from ESPN for giving us the following information as well, too, because without him, we wouldn't have it. One scout talked about the Knicks and our offseason moves. You can ask a lot of people. They love it. This scout hated it, judged the Knicks very poorly, and thought the Knicks really aren't a better team right now than they were before with the moves that we made. That's at least what I got from it by reading the following. Let's go ahead and break this down. Shout out to Sports Illustrated for giving us the following information as well, too. One scout called out the New York Knicks as having the worst offseason in the NBA. The Knicks also received 5 votes for best offseason. What? One scout called out the New York Knicks for what? Worst offseason? There are some teams that didn't do anything. Nothing. Not a thing. And we have the worst offseason? How can you get worse and you do something that clearly makes you better? What? Who are you? No wonder you're anonymous. I would be anonymous too if I made this comment. Let's continue. Surprisingly, this is according to the scout, surprisingly, an East scout said the Knicks had the league's worst offseason, pointing to the combination of losing center Isaiah Hartenstein, giving a near max deal to OG Anunoby, and paying a heavy price to land Mikal Bridges from the Brooklyn Nets. I'm not convinced they'll be better this year. I'm not convinced they'll be better this year. Okay. Well, clearly you drank before talking to Tim Bontemps, because if you didn't drink, you would have made a different suggestion here. What a poor, extremely poor take. One of the worst teams in terms of moves of the offseason? You're not convinced we're going to be better this year? You don't need to be convinced. You know what you need to do? Don't say anything else. Don't make any further comments. Go sit on your couch. Maybe open a beer, whatever you like to drink, and watch. Just watch. Don't judge. Watch. Watch what this Knicks team does every single game next season. You want to talk about somebody who's going to live to regret his comments? This anonymous whoever guy, executive, is going to live to regret these comments. Not only are they widely ludicrous, it's craziness, craziness on craziness on craziness, but the Knicks losing Isaiah Hartenstein was not because they didn't want to keep him. They gave him the most money they could give him. And even Hartenstein stated, if it wasn't OKC, he would have stayed. What do you want them to do? They couldn't force their way to give him more money. What did you want them to do? So that doesn't make sense. OG Anunoby, you know how they just stated, right? The little quote there, near max, trying to gloss over it. Near max. What they don't say, OG was scheduled to entertain free agency. And then he signed for less than the max. And many teams, including our rival, the Philadelphia 76ers, were rumored to be able to offer him or wanting to offer him the most money, the max money that they could offer him. But instead of that, he chose to join the Knicks, what we were building, and not even entertain free agency. So he put everybody's mind at ease. What if he didn't do that? What if he left? What would you have said? The Knicks lost OG. Failure of a trade. So you would have criticized us for that too. Either way, we would have got criticized. And OG Anunoby, whether you believe he's worth the money or not, one thing is true. Are the Knicks a better team when he's on the floor? Are we more of an impactful team? a more effective team, if all of those things are true, then you know what? Pay that man. That's exactly what they did. Jalen Brunson's contract extension, taking less, allowing us to be more flexible as we move forward. There's no hate toward that. There's hate in your heart. Let me take a guess. And Tim Bontemps, if you're watching this, message me if you can. Just tell me if I'm right. I would suggest this scout is either in Toronto or more likely with Philadelphia. Let me know if I'm right, because with all of my being, this sounds like a Philadelphia 76ers scout. And he sounds mad. And I would be mad too. A hobbled Knicks team beat you bad in the playoffs. And now a fully healthy Knicks team with a loaded, stacked roster is going to do it all over again in so much easier fashion. Some people fear the Sixers. Me? I don't fear the Sixers at all. The Sixers should fear injury because one of them shuts their entire season down. If you enjoyed these clips from the live show, be sure to subscribe to the channel and have notifications turned on so you don't miss any new episodes or when we go live. Thanks for watching, Knicks fans, and until next time, peace.